Ladies and gentlemen, if you have to sacrifice Old Yeller or Fido, that's what it takes to keep Trump from tweeting. The producer price index has reached 10% in terms of inflation year over year. The core inflation is at 7.5, they say. In April, we'll find out it's closer to 10%. Okay. If you added energy and food, core inflation excludes energy and most energy and food costs. If inflation was calculated in the way that it was in the early 80s, late 70s, where you didn't exclude energy and food costs, you'd have 15% inflation or so, according to Peter Schiff and others. I'm going to read you this. If you have to sacrifice the pets, hey, like Bloomberg said, nobody says it was easy. Nobody said it would be easy. So here, this is an actual quote from Bloomberg Opinion. Hit subscribe to this channel. This will almost certainly be adopted by morally superior liberal Democrats who want to fight inflation any way they can, because Trump's tweets and his personality, not having to deal with Trump is worth $6 to $7 a gallon gas, over $100 per barrel oil. I mean, it approached $130 about a couple of weeks ago. 0 to 1.3% or 1.5% economic growth for the first quarter, heading into a recession, supply chain breakdown, geopolitical nightmares in Europe. But here, I want to read you this. This is from a Bloomberg article. And instead of saying, hey, one way to combat inflation is to vote for in 2024, I don't know, Trump. Instead of saying that, it may sound harsh, quote, it may sound harsh, but researchers actually don't recommend PET chemotherapy, which can cost up to $10,000 for ethical reasons. Now, I'm not going to get into the veterinary discussion. If your veterinarian wants to help your pet live longer with chemotherapy, that's an issue that's between you and your veterinarian. The interesting thing is, if you're one of many Americans who became a new pet owner during the pandemic, you might want to rethink those costly pet medical needs. It may sound harsh, but researchers actually don't recommend pet chemotherapy, which can cost up to $10,000 for ethical reasons. Coping with inflation could mean drastic actions or small ones. How about voting against Democrats? Is that possible? Is that possible? Is it possible maybe to have a change from president-exhumed body, from mashed potato brains and his bumbling band of incompetent imbeciles? Is it possible maybe that we could have mean tweets? Give me mean tweets, please, please. Give me mean tweets and low gas prices and economic growth and record low Black and Latino unemployment, record low unemployment nationally, hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs, a great economy, wealth inequality that was lessening in terms of the gap between rich and poor. Now it's widening. Poverty rate is increasing. And then Democrats say, here's more money. Here's more money. We're helping the poverty rate. Here's more money. You're causing the poverty rate with your apoplectic and hysterical and counterproductive policies. Our policies. We love our policies. They're so proud of their policies. Gas through the roof. Inflation through the roof. You have the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. Your credit card bills, the minimum payment will be more expensive. You're gonna see, loans. If you have a variable interest rate, everything's going to be more expensive once they continue to raise interest rates. In addition to inflation, which will continue to skyrocket because interest rates, you couldn't possibly raise interest rates high enough to tackle inflation. You would absolutely cause an immediate stock market crash, which we're going to have. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. We're almost at 195,000 people. We're close to 200,000 subs. I will have an epic live stream on this channel when we hit 200,000 subscribers. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. I'll have a segment on the Stock Market Crash channel tonight. Be there in the pinned comment below. And also read my article in the Federalist predicting the economic downturn we're seeing and the stock market crash, devastating stock market crash we're going to see. We've seen it in slow motion. Now there's this bear market turn upwards. But we're looking perhaps at a lost decade in terms of the stock market. We're looking at a recession that's imminent and a stock market crash that's imminent. And when I mean stock, I mean you're going to see an 08, 2008 type of situation. Supply chains are broken, okay? You already have a terrible stock market crash in China. They have supply chain issues. They have a whole bunch of issues in China and other countries. And oh, by the way, in terms of geopolitics, India, President Xi, China, they're basically buying oil from you-know-who. They are completely circumventing sanctions. So are major investment banks, by the way. Okay? You can feel really good about yourself putting that little icon, okay, next to whatever the new social cause or political cause is, right next to your name on Twitter if you're a morally superior liberal Democrat. But inflation is a tax upon the poor. Then you're going to start, unfortunately, getting layoffs because corporate profits are going to either decline or they're going to not grow fast enough. And demand is going to suffer. Consumer confidence is at a decade's low. The fundamentals for the economy are terrible, yet they're going to raise interest rates, and they're doing so because they pumped so much money into the economy, $10 trillion, through fiscal and monetary stimulus. They have to end the quantitative easing, so the Fed tapering has already begun. And then, once they fix the Fed balance sheet, they're going to flood the market with bonds, and they're going to continue to raise interest rates, and inflation is going to continue to skyrocket, and the market is still at all-time highs relatively. So what do you think's going to happen? The valuations are going to plummet. And other countries around the world, major geopolitical powers, Major powers around the world are now moving away from the U.S. dollar. What do you think's going to happen? But you know what? At least Trump isn't tweeting. At least, and you see what's taking place in Europe. And God bless the people. God bless the Ukrainian people. But you, like the morally superior liberal Democrats sitting back and saying, I support them. Oh, you're promoting talking points from the Kremlin. That doesn't help the 2 million plus people displaced. While you sit there and say they're fighting for democracy. There should be a focus on a peace deal, okay? But of course there isn't. Because a peace deal would entail exactly what Vladimir will eventually get, which is a guarantee that nobody joins that alliance, the military alliance. I don't want to get into it. I've already said too much in terms of Fido. And one way to combat inflation. This is an article, by the way. Inflation stings most if you earn less than $300,000. Here's how to deal. And it's not just it's eating lentils. It's selling your car, eating lentils instead of meat. So forget the steak. I talked about this yesterday. Lentils are fantastic. I love lentils. But you know what? If you feel like a nice steak, you shouldn't do that because you don't want Trump to tweet. See, you don't have to sacrifice because of Trump's personality. You can actually have a good economy, great economy, good foreign policy, a leader that has his phone calls answered by other leaders, and you know what? Endure his terrible or annoying or belligerent or grandiose personality. Great economy, bad personality. Or you have mashed potato brains with, like, who knows where. Does he have even a good personality? I don't know. According to liberals, he's a fantastic human being. Even though he's been accused of more greater than President Trump. an actual criminal complaint filed to the police department. But anyway, that's a whole other story. They don't care about that. They're talking about the biggest hypocrites on the planet. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is an article you would never see under Trump. And Bloomberg is a good article. The author is a wonderful, wonderful journalist and economist. And so nothing against Bloomberg or the author. But this is the type of article that is written because people on the left or in the mainstream or the establishment does not want you to look at the reality of the situation. You had a choice. You chose, if you didn't vote for Trump, you chose a terrible economy and a horrible foreign policy and a personality that isn't that great at all. And President Mashed Potato Brains and President Exhumed Body, that's all, and everything that he stands for. You chose a terrible existence just because you couldn't stand Trump's mean tweets. This is a testament to American politics, how dysfunctional people are. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. You know one way to combat inflation? Vote for Trump in 2024. That's a good way to combat inflation. Look at his economic record. Look at his foreign policy record compared to what you see today. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you so very,